This is the most lucrative job I've ever seen. It's only an hour at sea. I'll catch a giant bluefin tuna. This head is way too big. The fish is bright red and rich. You can easily make over $7,000. You want to do this kind of get-rich-quick job? It's past 7 o'clock in the morning. Paul's party saw whales at sea. They've only caught one tuna so far. Paul says to be very focused. It doesn't matter if you don't catch any fish. Once he worked as an employee, tuna fishing for other bosses, but because cannot catch fish was scolded by the boss. He counted that the boss was pushed into the sea and fed to the sharks. When I became my own boss, vow to be nice to your employees, even if the staff is worried about not catching fish. Paul urged his teammates to stay focused. They won't feed you to the sharks if you can't catch a fish. It's just a month's pay. While Paul was sorting out his fishing rod, the tuna took the bait. The fishing line clattered as it was pulled. The tuna yanked under the water, but the fish didn't excite them for long. It went straight off the wire. Not only did Paul not push his teammates into the sea to feed the sharks, and encourage him to do it again next time. Outwardly happy though, but I've been wanting to hit someone for a long time. Soon the day was over. Jack went out to sea a little after 3 a.m. He was hoping to catch a second fish today. Before we even started fishing for tuna, they all need to catch some mackerel as bait. Captain Marsha went out very early today. They're using dead fish bait. No wonder we often fail to catch tuna. It'll be dawn soon. Whales can be seen feeding at sea. Whales produce a lot of food scraps as they forage. This is likely to attract tuna. The OTT team is also waiting at sea. A teammate cooks breakfast on the boat. Every time I see breakfast, something good happens. These 3 fried eggs really attracted the tuna. Cook was nearby too. Everyone is waiting for the surprise to happen. Soon the fishing rod was pulled. The tuna from OTT's side. I can't believe he ended up at Cook's. Is this breakfast cooked for nothing? But it's not. Another tuna bite. Otter and Cook, they serve the fish at the same time. This breakfast is really good. 2 tuna were attracted at once. Before they catch it, they'll probably think it's a shark. The line was torn very badly. It's really loud to hear. It should be a big one. Just stop for a few seconds. It's another yank. How big is this tuna? The waves are very big right now. The boat drifted very badly. OTT and Cook, they're both fishing for tuna. This fish is very big. Otter here pulls up the fish. It turned out to be a shark. I'm so amused that the car overturned. They felt an instant disappointment. But the sharks are not entirely to blame. After all, they provide some emotional value. It's been going on with Cook for over an hour. The fish's strength is gradually exhausted when it was pulled to the surface. Teammates attack with harpoons. This fish is destined to be eaten as a sashimi. Cook and his team really had a lot of luck. They have caught 3 tuna so far. They tied the fish's tail with hooks, but there was still fierce resistance. The stronger the resistance, the stronger the fish is. They had a hard time tying the tail together. Everyone was excited when they pulled the tuna up. This fish is only 79 inches in size. No big surprises though, but it makes a lot of money anyway. It's a little after 9 in the morning. Michelle and her crew are out at sea preparing their fishing rods. Yesterday they caught a giant tuna, made $7,500. The fish gave her great confidence. So today they still think they can catch another fish. It's good to have confidence. It's easier to catch fish without confidence. Cook and his men returned to the port to sell fish. This fish is not very big though, but it takes the least amount of time, even a low price. The cost performance is also very high. The fish weighed 266 pounds. This weight is very good. The price of fish depends on the fat content. The buyer cuts off a piece of the fish's tail. Evaluate the price of the whole fish. This fish has a clear core, and it has a lot of fat. The buyer offered $16 per unit. The price is not high. Cook and his crew raked in $4,256. As long as the cost is low. More money than Bill Gates and Elon Musk. After Paul dropped the bait, start analyzing yesterday's situation. The tuna will swim around when it bites the hook. Talking a lot of crap. Last word. The tuna bite hook is to swallow the bait directly. So the hook will be inside the tuna. They use this big grouse hook. Once the tuna bites the hook, if you don't go to the hospital for surgery, you will definitely die. The teammate hung the bait on the hook. Expect this fish to catch a tuna. 11 a.m. Jack's team is at sea again. Teammates dropped the bait into the water. A mackerel would be happy to go home this way. While I was waiting, the probe went off. The tuna came in pretty fast. Tuna bites the hook every time they come. The newly hooked tuna just has to wait. The occasional reel saps its strength. As long as the tuna doesn't get under the boat. This fish is in the underwater position, but the tuna is still strong. Teammates with harpoons ready to attack. This one goes down. You can kill a tuna with a thick skin. Jack's team successfully harvested a second tuna. This little boat is a hell of a boat. After they pulled the fish into the boat, the tuna is 83 inches long. It's a nice big tuna. Paul knew when Jack caught the fish. Really envied to death. Jack was soon back at the port selling fish. The buyer takes out the fish core. This fish weighs only 199 pounds. His teammates were satisfied. The next step is to judge the fish labels. Fish has a lot of subcutaneous fat. These small tuna are easy to sell. The buyer offered $18 a pound. Jack and his crew raked in $3,582. Gas costs $100 a day. I make $3,582, which is a huge profit. Paul, they've been at sea for 2 days. And a couple hundred pounds of bait. It's been a week since the fishing season began. They just caught a tuna. That's bad luck. The same goes for Marsha. They were also very unlucky. Marsha lit it all on fire. Pray for good luck on this ship. Take this thing and walk around the boat. Does it really work? After the prayer service, sure enough, the detector beeped. A tuna soon came nearby. They were suddenly refreshed. The fishing rod is pulled directly. Teammates immediately began to fight. Tuna fishing is really easy. After taking the bait, it's a wait. Just adjust the direction of the boat. When the tuna stops pulling, you can pull in and drain it. Marsha thinks it's the tuna he prayed for. Took the chance to blow a big blow, and his teammates took credit for it. It's up to him to catch this tuna. The tuna's strength is quickly exhausted. Marsha was waiting with a harpoon. As soon as the tuna surfaced, I'm going to be attacked by Marsha. It didn't hit the first time. The second time, it hits the tuna directly in the gut. They parade the tuna through the water. The goal is to work the tuna to death. His teammate hooked the tail of the fish. After completing this step, they, too, declared victory. The caught tuna still needs to cool down in the water. Marsha is enjoying the fishing atmosphere today. When they pull the tuna up, the size of this fish is too big, but only 73 inches. This fish should be the smallest of the season. It should sell for around $2,000. They soon return to the port to sell fish. This fish is small in size, but Marsha hopes the fish will be of better quality. The tuna weighs 195 pounds. The weight is still okay. Next comes the quality of the fish. Is there any fat in this piece of fish? But the fish core is beautiful. Finally, the buyer offered $17 per unit. Marsha's little tuna earned $3,315, a little higher than they expected. On the whole, it was satisfactory. Michelle's team is lining up the fishing line. Make sure the lines aren't tangled. After lowering the mackerel bait into the water, soon the probe beeped. The tuna came nearby. No surprises. Tuna's back on the hook. Get the fishing rods out of the way. Prevent tuna from hanging. The tuna that just took the bait was fierce. It will have to wait. Pulling blindly will only break the wire. Last time I fished for 11 hours. I wonder how long this fish will take today. Watching this tuna is fierce, but I didn't expect to be pulled out of the water so soon. I thought I was going to take this tuna. Then he went crazy and swam away. His teammates were furious. Michelle encouraged her that it was okay. It's just a year's pay. These girls have had a lot of bad luck. They had to move on to another spot to continue fishing. Paul, they've been at sea for days. I never caught any fish. When I am bored, I always think of my working days. Being scolded by the boss every day. In serious cases, they're pushed into the sea and fed to the sharks. Now I'm my own boss. I dare not lose my temper with the staff. Fear employees more than bosses. After waiting hundreds of years, a tuna finally appeared nearby. The crew was thrilled when the rod was pulled. They waited a long time for this tuna. His teammate vowed not to let him get away this time. Paul thinks it's a big tuna. It's definitely over 100 inches. I don't know where he gets his confidence. After 44 minutes of fishing, they're still waiting for the tuna to wear out. At this point, the teammates began to pull on the line. Paul was excited to wrestle for fun. Others fish for money. Paul worked his ass off fishing. The tuna is still far away. Looks like he's still going strong. It lasted more than an hour. My teammates' arms are starting to ache. They had seen the size of the fish. Guess about 900 pounds. When the tuna is pulled back to shore, Paul attacked with a harpoon. The two make a good match. The fish was soon tied up. The two men became excited when they saw the fish. This fish should be very big. Paul told Dave the news. This is really enviable. All the captains were envious. I also want to catch a big fish like this. Paul shows Dave and his crew his tuna. It looks like this fish should be pretty big. After they pulled the tuna on board, the tuna is over 100 inches long. It's a really nice big tuna. Back at the port, they began to sell fish. This fish is the biggest one caught this season. If the fish is fat enough, I'm sure it pays well. The buyer cuts off the tail and takes out the core. This tuna weighs only 453 pounds. It didn't come as a surprise. The fish is cherry-colored. There's some fat in the corners of the skin. This is a precocious tuna, so it needs more fat. The buyer offered $17 per unit. Paul and his crew raked in $7,701. The price should surprise Paul. What surprises do the contestant have in store for us next? Look forward to an update in the next video.